Hi, it's Susie from Pretty Deadly Self-Defense. I was speaking with my friend Eve Parmiter the other day about grief. Eve is also a martial artist and a cognitive hypnotherapist who works in London. We were talking about how this time that we're moving through can make us feel pretty intensely sad. We're mourning the things that were suddenly interrupted when everything went into lockdown. The loss of plans and things underway, of graduations, of dreams, of businesses, of jobs, and of course, for some of us, the loss of people we love. Grief comes in many forms and has many causes, but Eve and I were talking about how grief often moves in circles. Eve likens grief to a spiral staircase, and I liken grief to the rings of water a pebble makes when it's thrown into a lake. Either way, we both agree that grief is not linear. That's really hard for us chronological, linear, logical human beings. We like to have a very clear beginning, middle, and end to things. It helps us feel secure and safe. Grief definitely has a beginning. There's the moment of loss, whether it's lifestyle or loved one. But it has no end. It just has sort of ever widening circles of middle. What I mean is, you often feel a sort of round of grief and sadness, and then it passes. But then it comes back around again, maybe a little less intensely each time. Every round of grief moves you farther away from that center moment of grief. But because energy can neither be created nor destroyed, so the motion caused by that dropped pebble never truly stops. It just gets easier to bear. It's been hard and frightening to let go of the life that we knew only 3 months ago. We may be grieving that reality that has been so familiar to all of us for so long. And we may be frightened that whatever replaces it may be worse than what we're experiencing now. Eve's martial arts training comes from Chinese martial arts, which tend to move in a more circular fashion. My martial arts training comes from Japanese martial arts, which are more angular in nature. Chinese arts flow around and with and redirect energy into something new. So you often find yourself in a completely new place with no idea how you got there, but with the sense that you somehow agreed to getting there. Japanese arts, or at least ninjutsu, also focuses on redirection, but through disruption. And that disruption is designed to arrest motion, to create a sort of shocked and sudden stillness, which also creates an empty space that we then flow into. But that disruption can also feel like an affront. You're kind of just moving along, doing your own thing, and then suddenly someone stops you or something stops you. Who is that person or that thing to stop you from your path that you're on? Of course, it's shocking, and of course, you're going to get pissed off. The one thing I know that grief and fear have in common is anger. Both of these sensations can appear as rage inside of us, or even just a slow burning frustration. And that can make things feel even harder when everything is really uncomfortable. The last thing we need is more discomfort. But anger is uncomfortable for a reason. It's there to let us know that something is off, out of balance. So why anger? Why is that common to both grief and fear? Because both of those emotions share something else in common, which is vulnerability. When we feel very alone, we feel very vulnerable. Even if you are sheltering in place with other people, you may be feeling very alone right now, and that's a very powerful feeling. When we feel alone, we're desperate to reach out and make an emotional connection. And when all of our emotions and realities are jumbled up, one of the easiest emotions to conjure up is anger. Anger can act as a bridge to connect us to others. It forces a reaction, an acknowledgement, and interaction, and voila, we're connected, even if it's only temporarily. So how do we move through this grief this sadness, this rage, or even just frustration. We connect, not with our fists, not by reacting violently to the situation or the person who's disrupted us. We connect instead with our heart, if we can, with a hug, if it's possible, or even with just our voice. And what if you have no one to connect to, or if you don't particularly like to connect to other humans? You can connect to yourself. If you can, lay down on the floor, on your back, and spread your arms and legs out wide like a star. You are now in absolute perfect balance. You're not going to drift off into space. You're not going to fly away. You are here now, connected to the earth, holding down the floor. If you're not able to get on the floor or put your feet on the floor and do the same exercise, you can also connect to the world around you through other senses. Open your windows and listen to life outside. Listen closely. It's never silent. If you feel comfortable doing so, sing. Use your voice to connect to those sounds of life. Harmonize. A big part of training in martial arts is about learning how not to get pissed off when an obstacle is in your way or when you are suddenly redirected. Oh, you're blocking my path? Okay. I'll go around, I'll make a hard left, a hard right, or even a soft left or a soft right, or retreat. There's a million different directions you can go in. It doesn't always have to be a straight path. But it takes a long time to get to the point where you're not pissed off. It usually comes at the point that you've learned to trust yourself that you can redirect. And it takes an even longer time to get to the point where you can take pleasure in the redirection, but it comes. I hope this has been of help. And if you'd like to learn more about finding balance in uncertain times through martial arts or self-defense, please feel free to join us for one of our interactive live stream self-defense classes. You can register for them at our website at prettydeadly.org. And we'd love to connect with you one-on-one. We host a weekly Zoom chat. You can find the link in the description below or in our bio if you're watching this on Instagram. Hope to see you soon and connect with you too. Bye.